Bugonia, the new Emma Stone movie, where they shave her head and they think she's an alien. They kidnap her, and it is a wild ride. Wild Trees here said he wanted to do a review. I'm like, sure, let's do a review. So we kicked it off live. I got Wild Trees here. Everybody knows him. Pseudo co-host, future partner if I can ever find money to pay him. And we have a special guest, Mr. Brandon from Tinfoil Tales. How's it going there, Brandon? Good to see you.
It is going good. Good to see you.
I'm glad you were able to do it. It was such short notice because this was like, okay, we're doing a show. I'm going to neglect my children again. I can't wait.
This was the only night I didn't have something scheduled to record, so
it meant to be.
Yeah,
meant to be. I see. Begonia. Anyway, we're doing a spoiler review for Bugonia. So if you haven't seen it and you don't know anything about it, I'd recommend not listening to this because we're going to go deep. And Wild Trees is going to tell us about the show before we get started.
Yeah, sure. So Bugonia. Exactly. So Bugonia is a movie directed by Greek director Yorgos Lanthimos, I believe. Mm-hmm. He also directed Poor Things, which I loved a lot. He directed The Lobster, which is a great comedy all about relationships. He directs a lot of dark comedies. But in this movie, Bugonia, that just came out, I feel like it hits really close to home to the three people that are here. So Bobby Dizzle from the Caffeinated Cryptid. And then we got Brandon from Tinfoil Tales. Mm-hmm. And I'm Biologist Wild Trees. I have my own paranormal podcast. So I feel like it hits close to home because one of the main characters 100% believes aliens are on the planet in some way. And I think all three of us feel that way. And so the movie hit close to home. For me, now we're not as extreme as Teddy is, one of the main characters, but we have Teddy and we have his cousin Don and we have this pharmaceutical CEO named Michelle, played by Emma Stone. And the movie, like Bobby said, is a wild ride. It gets very intense, very gory, tastefully done. It's beautifully shot. And it deals with corporate corruption, decline of biodiversity, and the idea of extraterrestrials living amongst us on this planet.
The gore was glorious in this movie. The gore.
It was unexpected. It was intense, and it was well done. Didn't linger too long. It did exactly what Gore was supposed to be. But
the words "holy shit" came out of my mouth loud and woke people up.
It comes out of nowhere, and it's not very expected when it does happen.
Emma Stone said, "Jesus Christ!" I was like, "Oh my God, that just happened in the face."
Yeah, we went and seen it on the 30th in theaters. We had to drive about 60 miles to get to the nearest theater because nowhere around here was showing it. It was only in the bigger cities, so we had to drive up to Fort Wayne to see it.
Oh yeah, you're up in Indiana. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
in my mind, you're still in Kentucky.
No, it was down around Indianapolis. It was Fort Wayne, the bigger areas, but nothing close to me within like a reasonable distance. So we had to drive about an hour to go see it. And then we were the only people in there besides maybe a couple other people.
Really?
Yeah, we went at like 6:15. Well, the time we are right now for me is the time that the movie was starting. It's except we had 40 minutes of frigging commercials before it actually started.
I thought about going to a 10:30 p.m. showing, but then I was like, if I do, it's going to start at 11.
Right.
And it's going to be 1 a.m. before I get out of here.
That is the conspiracy that they should really can contemplate in movies, is why there's now commercials and advertisements for so long before movies. It used to go to a movie and you could see it. Now you have to go and watch commercials.
Well, I factor it in. I know it's going to be 20 minutes before the movie actually starts, so I factored it in. But also, I don't want to bury the lead because Brandon plays a role in the movie. Bobby, do you want to talk about that?
I do. I was going to let Brandon describe what he did for the movie because he knows his constraints, but he is a movie star amongst us, special guest here.
I was technically not in the movie per se as acting, but they did use my voice in the movie. So an episode of my podcast was included in the movie for what the main guy Teddy listens to. So I guess you could say I influenced him to go on a psychopathic kidnapping spree because he listened to Tinfoil Tales and decided he was going to go and kidnap this lady because he thought she was an alien. That is
It's the scene right here.
Yeah.
Those headphones.
Yeah. When he's got the headphones on listening, you will hear my voice. This good old radio sounding masculine voice.
Now that scene hit close at home because I was like, that's what I do all the time. I put on my headphones, these very headphones, and I listen to a podcast like yours. And in the clip, you were talking about the origins of these non-humans. You were saying demonic or interdimensional, and that's kind of the clip they used for the scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they went deep on that.
Yeah. There was some other stuff that I noticed too that I don't know if you want to dive into the spoilers.
Yeah.
But
Let's do it
all the way.
I haven't seen anyone else bring this up, but every time it switched to day, did you happen to notice that the Earth was flat?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was giggling every time it popped up because I was like, look, that's the edge of the Earth, and there's the ice wall.
Yeah.
It was like the classic flat Earth picture that they were
Yeah.
using. I didn't know if it was like a graphic they were using for the movie. Just
same
they
thing.
made
Yeah.
for it. But then at the end, it cuts to them on the ship, and it's like there's that same graphic as they're using as the hologram for the Earth. I'm like, it's the same one.
Right. Yeah. It was very interesting for me because there was a lot of the stuff that he said in the movie is stuff that I've we've talked about on an episode here and there of my show. And I'm like, now I'm leery about being included in this because I was like, is it going to paint the picture that people that listen to my show are all crazy people going to go out there and like kidnap people and torture people and all this other stuff? But then luckily, I say luckily in the sense of spoiler territory, but luckily he was somewhat redeemed, even though
he wasn't exactly wrong.
Right.
Other than the body shoot he had in the basement there.
That was intense. Yeah, when they show that he had like a human butchery table room, that was pretty crazy. That became like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah,
that was kind of not expected either. Like you pull back this thing and all of a sudden you just see all these random parts of other people that he's apparently kidnapped and tortured and cut up at some point.
It was barely hinted at, so they set it up a little bit because they're in the parking lot of like a Dollar General, and Teddy's talking to Don, his cousin, and Don's like, are they aliens? And he looks at him and he just starts describing like, no, they're not. So to me, that kind of set up the idea that he's done a lot of research, butchery to kind of. And it's funny because I forget the number, but he killed like a dozen people and only two of them were aliens.
Yeah.
They didn't go back into that thinking, who's the serial killer in the area? Why is there 20 people missing?
Yeah, that was something I guess that I didn't feel like was elaborated a whole lot. And I understand, like, I felt like the movie seemed very long.
Really? Interesting.
Like
it was 2 hours.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
It just, not that I'm going to complain about it or anything, but like I just felt like it was got to the point where it just seemed like it was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Maybe
there was a lot of them like setting up the tension. There's a lot of that. That movie was a slow burn. What did I say it was compared to? It was Dumb and Dumber. It was the Coen brothers, Dumb and Dumber, Misery, and 10 Cloverfield Lane all in one movie.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Now I want to talk about the weird thing about the movie is that like I believe a lot of the stuff in there, not a lot of not anything Teddy does, but I mean some of his beliefs. So Brandon, I'd like to tell you what I think is going on, and I want to hear what your current idea is. So let me just set up what I think. So I think that this planet has been visited for a very long time. I don't know how long, thousands, millions of years, by non-humans. But I think the UFO alien topic is actually composed of multiple things like time travelers, interdimensional, cryptoterrestrials. I think it's just not one cause. I don't think it's a unified cause. I do think there are aliens among us in disguise. Why wouldn't there be? And there's stories like, the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins talks about it, Billy Corgan. But anyway, so to put a bow on it, I just think that there are humans like you and I on this planet, but I believe they come from multiple sources. But I'd love to hear what you think currently. And I know it changes, and I know we don't know for sure, but yeah.
I think if there is something out there, and this is just my assumption, I have no proof of anything, but I feel like there has to be some sort of life outside of just us. Now, are they aliens from a different galaxy coming here to harvest farts? I don't think so. But I also, if you look at space the way that science teaches us of space, like the huge amount of time it would take to travel, the distances and everything else, it just seems very far fetched to think that someone has already been here communicating with us. The only way they could do that is if they have the ability to travel faster than what we can understand. And even with light speed, like the ability to travel at the speed of light, there's still some of these galaxies so far away that it would still take years upon years just to get to a different outside of our own
Yeah.
galaxy.
A billion
Okay.
light years is still a billion years.
Right.
It's still a long time.
So in this movie, the Andromeda galaxy is where the aliens were from.
Mhm.
How long would it take at the speed of light to get to the Andromeda galaxy from us? I don't know the exact distance, but I don't think it's just like a snap of the fingers and you're there. So
It's one of the only ones that's visible from here, naked eye wise.
yeah,
You can like see it right now.
but
So it's still a galaxy.
so
God knows how long away.
people see a lot of things, they experience a lot of things, and they say they've been abducted, and they say they've seen extraterrestrials, and they say these other things. But then when you start to look at some of the things that they have seen and they have described, they can also be related back a long time ago before we had aliens. Back in the European days, like hundreds of years ago, we had fairy abductions. Like people would get taken by what they called fairies or the fae folk. It's the same type of story. It's just a different element to it. Like it's not aliens, it's fae. So if some of these interactions are going on constantly throughout our history, maybe the things that we're perceiving as aliens are just the modern version of what the fae folk were back in the days. And a lot of people go this route with religion, but they claim it's all demonic stuff. And again, I was like, people rate demons as evil, but what if things are actually what they are? So there is no good, there is no evil. They just are what they are. And we perceive it as a balance of good and evil. But they're only whatever they do to survive. So the things that we see as bad to them isn't bad. It's just how things are. That makes sense?
Yeah,
of course.
We're predisposed to that anyway, good and evil.
Well, it's like
bow and stuff.
It's like a like a tiger or a great white shark. A tiger may rip someone's face off, but I wouldn't classify it as evil. It's just its nature, and it has a role to play. That kind of reminds me of the jinn as well from Islamic religion. So they're supposed to be made a smokeless fire, which reminds me of plasma. So I wonder if they're like some of these gnomes, the people that abducted us and in the olden times. Yeah, I wonder if they're just made of some kind of plasma, some kind of matter. Because plasma, from what I understand it, is just like it's still made of the same kind of atoms that we have, like carbon, oxygen, all that stuff. It's just that they have more electrons in them, which gives them special properties. So that idea always interested me.
Like ectoplasma. And if you take the Bigfoot lore and lay it on top of Fae lore, it's exactly the same, minus the giant monkey. It's I started Jason McLean told me that, and I'm thinking he told it, and I started reading into it. I'm like, my God, it's the same stuff.
I talked to someone last year, and it made a whole lot of sense. They said that if you took Bigfoot encounters and put them in your house, you would say your house has a poltergeist. And it is very similar. Like you hear things knocking, things might move, you hear or see shadows or whatever, things getting thrown at you. It's like, so he called it the Spores poltergeist. I was like, you know what? That makes sense to me.
And the Fae in the Fae lore, if the Fae give you something and you consume it, it turns into dirt. Whatever they give you turns to dirt, and that tells me a lot. Like maybe the bodies turn to dirt whenever they like go back where they came from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like maybe they were never there. And if they get shot and fall down, they turn to leaves. You never find them.
And the way I see this biologically is like these animals could represent just a more advanced or a form of life or something outside of our understanding. So as an example, like let's say there's a slug. A slug, maybe let's say an astronaut, a human astronaut is outside the understanding of a slug. Yet the slug still lives, in the same world, and they're both biological entities. But yeah, there's just in biology, there's just different animals that just don't comprehend each other. because of the way they act or their intelligence or technology. So these beings like Bigfoot, we could be the slug in that scenario, you know, and they're the astronauts, and we just live on the same planet.
And like when what did somebody say? You don't, when you go to the lake, you don't tell the kingfish that you're there.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, back to the movie, like the way that they had such control over the earth, just with the stick, killed everybody. That speaks to how far superior they were to us. Now I don't know. She did explain it, but did she say that they created humans?
She did. Yep.
I think, but the ones that were still alive now are like the bastardized.
Yeah, they're the ones that didn't make it, or the ones that made it.
Well, I saw that
brought
part.
The flood too, like the Noah's flood or whatever, and everyone died, and then we all kind of came from that. So again, a lot of the things that they talked about are a lot of things that a lot of conspiracy people are actually into and they believe into, because a lot of the stuff that gets talked about in that movie is stuff that really does go on in these circles that I get involved in. And I don't believe everything that I see online or anything like that. I obviously try and take a skeptical stance to it.
It's healthy to do so, I'll tell you that. I believe everything.
I have a basement. I just don't have a whole bunch of bodies in it right now.
Well, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, as far as being on both sides, like I try to live in both worlds. So I try to live in the world where none of this paranormal stuff is true, and the one where everything is true, and then in the middle. But the crazy thing is, even if I live in the world where none of this paranormal stuff is weird, it's still ridiculous, because it's like, okay, so aliens aren't real. That means that all of these people that have encounters, they're all mistaken. Every single one's a liar, even though they match with each other, you know, even though there's physical evidence, even though there's radar, you know, that's also a crazy thought to go down. The rabbit hole of it not being real is also a weird one to go down. So
scarier.
If you were to go through life thinking that none of this stuff is real and everything is a lie, and everyone has some sort of experience, like in people that don't believe in paranormal, people that don't believe in aliens, people that don't believe in any of this type of stuff, but yet they have some sort of a religious belief, how can you believe in religion but not believe in some of the other stuff out there? Because some of the other stuff out there goes back to what religion even talks about.
Well, I mentioned this before, and I saw someone else say it on a podcast, but basically most of our human religions, like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they are extraterrestrial worshiping religions by their own definition, because they all have a creator of the planet. And so if you create the planet, you're not from the planet. That's all it takes. You're an extraterrestrial. So a lot of us worship extraterrestrials. And if you look at Jesus is actually a hybrid between an extraterrestrial and a human, which what do we hear abductees say all the time, that hybrids are created from them? It's just weird. Yeah.
By definition, he's a hybrid. Can't break it down. Even Rogan was talking about the really hot hybrid aliens they were getting to harvest the sperm from the abductees.
Yeah, it's just an outfit though. It's just like, so would you still do it? It's just a suit.
I was like, can I take that with me real quick? Just so how much for the outfit?
The other day, I
leave with it on a hanger like dry cleaning. No.
I was asked a question on Reddit, and you know how Reddit can be.
Oh yeah.
Like, it wasn't. I don't know if they were trying to take a jab or not, but they asked me how I felt. Was I honored by Jesse Plemons' portrayal of me in the film? And I said, well, I thought he did a great job. Like he wasn't obviously playing me, but in a sense, like if they're trying to say I'm a conspiracy nut job, whatever, no, I'm definitely not. But I do believe that there are some people out there that shouldn't believe everything that they see on the internet.
Sure.
I used to have a neighbor that was all into it. He would stop. You couldn't cut the grass. This dude would stop you and start talking about bankers. I'm like, dude, I gotta mow the grass, man.
When you were I'm sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
No, I was gonna say he would stop me about bankers all the time. And just like, I'm like, dude, what if you get to be 60 years old and die and all of a sudden you're still talking about bankers? Like, did you nothing? Nothing changed. You're just crazy. No one likes you.
Bankers as in people that like you take your money to, those type of bankers?
No, like like the cabal, like talking like eyes wide shut, the people that run the world, like the Iron Bank of Bravos.
Elites, the super rich elite people.
The lizard people bankers just control everything.
So that's another rabbit hole that I think would be kind of funny to look into. And I thought that maybe when they showed what the aliens were, I was hoping they'd be like reptilian looking.
Nope.
But they weren't. And
They're just people.
yeah,
Troy Polamalu looking.
Yeah. To go back, because I just saw this scene, to go back to like what she describes happened. She said, she's like, the reason I look like a human is because our 65th emperor came during the time of dinosaurs, and we all loved the dinosaurs. That's about 65 million years ago. We loved the dinosaurs. They had a complex working society, but they accidentally released a virus that killed them. So then what these aliens decided to do that already looked like humans, they made a version of humans that was like a lot like them. But then those humans, I think they're the ones that made Atlantis, they wanted to compete with their creators. And so they created another version, which is us, which is very aggressive. And then there was like a nuclear war. Thermonuclear war. Then there was a flood. And then only the survivors were these mutants, basically. And that's where we came from.
It's just us. On the seas for a century, she said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what she was trying to do is make this drug which would take away our negative qualities, which was what Teddy's mom, Alicia Silverstone, was taking, according to her.
Yeah. And I didn't understand the part where she was floating.
Dude, that was very weird.
They didn't explain it.
Apparently, this is one of the least weird movies for Yorgos.
Wow. I want to go back and see the rest of them.
Yeah, I honestly haven't watched the other ones, so I'm not really familiar with what he's put out, but they claim this is like the most accessible movie. I was like,
your intro is Bugonia.
Yeah.
400 level movie class. It's go into this.
When you were approached by the studio, did you feel like they respected you? Like, I know they didn't tell you directly, but what kind of vibe did you get from them? Did they think, what vibe did you get from the people in charge of the film?
To be 100% honest, I didn't really have a whole lot to do with any of the background stuff. Like, I got contacted from they have a lot of, I don't want to call them subsidiaries, but different departments, different things to this huge thing that goes on. So I worked with people from the music department.
Okay.
And this music supervisor reached out to me about an episode, which was the one that they got used, and asked me if I owned the rights to my podcast. And I said, well, yeah, it's my podcast. And asked what I would consider for how much I would want for it to be like used in a movie. But they didn't tell me anything about the movie or what it was or anything. I thought it was a scam at first because I got a random email from whatever. So I had to go and look online to figure out that this guy was a real person, and the website that the email it came from was a legitimate website. So then I responded with like, yeah, I meant like, what do you want? And then they broke down with like a breakdown of the scene, which just said that Teddy would be riding a bike to work, listening to the podcast and this and that. Like everything had already been filmed at that point. The movie had already been filmed and they were just doing all the extra stuff. So yeah, that scene there. And they came back and asked me like what I would want, this and that. So we had our discussions, and then that was kind of the end of it for a couple months. I didn't hear anything. And then I got an email where I reached out and they said, it looks like the scene has been removed from the movie. I was like, oh, that sucks, but whatever. And then a couple months later, I get an email back saying, hey, it's back in the movie. We're going to move forward with licensing. So in April, like all that got taken about, but then I had to sign an NDA where I can't talk about the ins and outs of everything that we did, but basically that is the extent of what I had. And then I've been in communication here and there asking what I'm able to talk about, and I finally got released from my stuff a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot left out there that you can't say other than the legal things. I mean, but like everybody knows you're in it now. It's not like, ooh. What about the lady that you were interviewing? What did she think about? Or did you tell her?
Which lady?
She in your clip there was a lady talking. You and the lady.
Oh, well, I haven't said anything to anybody about
it. I was wondering. I wonder what she thinks. You're the movie.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I haven't said anything because my luck they'll try and sue me.
That's funny. It's almost like you were contacted by, the people making the movie are like the top aliens. You were contacted by the little gray aliens. The
Right.
little tentacles went out and got you.
I gotta start checking my email often because I get crap like that all the time, but from people who names I can't pronounce wanting to promote me. Maybe I got like $1 million idea in there I don't know about.
Yeah. No,
So-
I haven't really said much about it, just other than like Facebook and some of the other things. But at the end of the day, like no one, unless someone knows who I am and I've told them that I'm in the movie, like no one's gonna know. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was strange that they wanted a real podcast rather than just making something on their own. But I guess it gives it some more realism.
Yeah, like I said, that scene hit it close to home when I was in theaters watching it, listening to your voice. I was like, man, this guy's it's like looking in the mirror. Listen to this guy.
Yeah, it's you're the way you do the podcast voice is perfect for that kind of movie though. Like it's that straight up, real serious, down to earth, and with the same subject matter going along with it is perfect.
Yeah.
He turns that corner, he's about to kill somebody. All of a sudden, it's just like your voice. I'm like, that's Brad. I know him. All of a sudden, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio. I know him. That's him.
Going back to the movie, I was thinking, like, do you think that Teddy, by his scheme, he accidentally accomplished the opposite of what he was trying to do? Because he was trying to like negotiate the release of humanity, but because he had such a terrible experience, I feel like he actually caused the demise of humanity at the end of the movie.
Oh, he definitely did.
Yeah.
I've read online now that some people have interpreted the movie differently from what is perceived in the movie. They don't believe that she's actually an alien. That whole scene after the explosion and she gets hit in the head, she's dreaming all of this.
I saw that, but I don't think it's not enough evidence to support that. I don't think
it doesn't make any sense as to why it would instantly jump to a dream and then never explain it went to a dream either.
Oh, you know why? Because those scenes you mentioned earlier with Alicia Silverstone floating, like I understand. To me, those scenes, this is basically like Teddy's trauma, and it's his dream. So he's like haunted by these dreams where, of course, it's something that really happened, but it's a little twisted, and maybe the floating is like imagery have to do with abductions and stuff. So I think those are dream scenes. So if it would have been a dream scene after she got hit in the head, Michelle, it would have been also shot in this weird, the gray and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's real. And if you look at the original film, I think what I read, it turns out to be aliens as well.
The Korean one or Japanese one?
Save the Green Planet.
Save the Green Planet. After it's all said and done, it comes out and revealed that, the guy really was an alien.
I knew that she was going to be an alien before I started watching it. And it still had me thinking that maybe she's not. I mean, they held out to the bitter end.
What if she's an alien in real life?
Yeah. I mean, when they shaved her head and she was standing there looking, she was a gray alien. She looked like a damn gray alien. Wild Trees left on us there.
I think he got disconnected.
Yeah, he's out there by the lake. He doesn't have good service. But I was thinking about Teddy. Did he come back? Teddy and his his quest to find the Andromedans and to find their the template that they use to make Andromeda bodies or human bodies out of Andromedans. I'm like, how did you start this huge risky project of taking people and abducting them? And just out of good, I mean, how confident were you that you were going to find one when you started just mowing down people left and right with a butcher knife?
I'm trying to figure out how he would have been able to get all the information anyway to know what the ship looked like, know where they came from, knew how to expect like what their insides and stuff were supposed to look like. I want to know what my show didn't talk about any of this, so I want to know what podcast he's listening to.
Yeah, Chris Stuckman. Yeah, it's Stuckman eyes, and the other guy that has the nice hair that does them,
James Johns.
Yeah, they all mentioned K-PAX, and that's one of the things I thought too. It had I should have mentioned that in my little clip last night that it had a lot of K-PAX to it.
With Kevin Spacey.
They had the big flash of light, and the girl and him disappeared, and never see him again. But you don't know where they went.
I never saw that one, so
you should. It's like this, but in a mental asylum.
I was mentioning other movies. So another movie that would be great to watch alongside with this one would be Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. Have you guys seen that one?
I know what it is, but I haven't watched it.
You had me at Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it's a great movie, but Scarlett Johansson does have full nude scenes in it.
Ooh,
That's just
it's
like
awesome movie. I mean,
that's just trivia I'm throwing out there. Just trivia about the movie that's interesting.
Watching it right now.
But what's interesting about Under the Skin, that is an abduction story. So aliens abduct people. What's funny about this one is that it's humans abducting aliens. I'm not sure if you guys caught that as well. The twist on the stereotype in Bugonia, yeah.
And it made me wonder that if she was, we often hear that aliens are superior physically to us and they have powers, telepathy, and can do things, but she used none of it. She just stayed on her army cot, chained to the floor.
Right. But they did mention her age, and I forget what it was. She's supposed to be like 50 or something. So maybe she does have something.
45
or 45.
Yeah. They said that she does some kind of nutrient supplement. I'm like, is Emma Stone 45?
No.
I guess she could be.
I don't think so.
Like she's younger than me.
I'm about to be 42, and I thought she was younger than I am.
I'm 42. I'm like, I thought she was like in her 30s because Superbad came out when I was a late 20s, and she was supposed to be a teenager in it.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure she's. No. I'm sure she's younger because Teddy uses that as a point to say you're an alien. It's like, I'm supposed to believe you're 45 or whatever, and yeah. So maybe physically she does have some. They just age slower or something like that.
Okay, so she's 36 in real life. That makes sense.
Yeah. So the guy who played, it was Don, wasn't it?
Yeah,
his cousin.
Yeah, he that was the first movie he'd ever been in. He's actually like that in real life.
Yeah, you can tell it wasn't an act.
Mm-hmm.
He did a good job though. Yeah. I mean, he was acting his ass off, and then he pulled that freaking gun out.
So I read somewhere. No, I didn't read. I was watching something with Jesse, and this part where they're at the dinner table, he's like, "Can I go pee?" Apparently, it was not in the script. That was actually him asking if he could go pee, and they left it in the movie because they said,
"Can I go now?" Yeah.
Apparently, that was like just him actually asking the question, and they just left it in there.
There's a guy that went to my jiu-jitsu gym that looked and that talked just like him, had the same disorder, and so the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine having to handle the situation with that dude right there alongside. That's your wingman. Is so yeah, he was acting his ass off. He did a good job, and he had cool hair.
I think, to be honest, if Jesse doesn't get nominated for an award, I'm going to be annoyed because I think he did a really, really good job, and he's always played a psycho very well. He did it in Breaking Bad. Like he took Todd from Breaking Bad and just instead of being about on meth, now he's all about aliens. So he went through that.
You seen him in Fargo?
I haven't watched Fargo.
Same dude, just crazy as hell. Shoot somebody in the head, I think.
I remember him from Friday Night Lights.
He's a younger kid. He's just got that face of somebody who's slightly unhinged, like the weird kid at the lunchroom that pours his milk all over his plate, kind of thing. You know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. I know.
They turn their eyelids inside out. Like, how the hell do you even do that?
The acting was all good. Like, the movie was kind of small scale if you really look at it. You know, the score elevates it, the direction, the film look, and the actors really elevate it. I personally love films that only have like 3 main actors in them, and this is what this was. I do want to mention the cop, who was played by Stavros Halkias. I was familiar with him from his podcast called Semen Town, basically.
What about him on that show Tires with Shane Gillis?
Right. He was in that as well.
He's hilarious in that movie. I was like, oh my God, it's Tires, dude.
And he's not really, I mean, he's acting, but he's doing one of those Seth Rogans where he's just being himself. So,
what was the underlying abuse that he did to
molestation?
Was it? I mean, is that?
I'm pretty sure he was a creepy babysitter.
I didn't want that to be it. I was like hoping maybe he just beat the hell out of him or something.
I got the vibe that he molested him.
Yeah,
that's the
vibe. I mean, I did too, but I didn't want it to be it.
Because he was like, I didn't do it to anyone else, which is like, if you would have beat him up, it's like, well, people get beat up all the time, you know, just roughed up a little bit.
Yeah,
you don't really forgive yourself for just whooping up a kid you babysit.
Yeah.
So when that whole scene happened out at the beehive and everything, I didn't feel bad at that point because
Yeah.
you kind of got that one coming if you really were doing all that to him. Like that's your karma, bitch.
I think Jesse, what was his name in the movie?
Teddy.
Todd Jesse. Yeah. I think he like got a couple shots in edgewise when he was doing that. And he didn't have to. Like you could tell there was like one or two that he like you didn't have to like do all that, man. You get bees all over his face. He just knocked him down with the top of that hive. He weighs a lot.
Yeah.
No, he just doused him in bee. Take that.
Oh man.
Yeah, the whole thing with his mom, I didn't know, like, I couldn't think if she was actually something really wrong with her, like some sort of disability, or if it's from the drugs that she did, and like he's on a revenge tour because he blames this company for what happened to his mom, and then she makes him give her antifreeze.
Yeah.
So she intentionally sent him to go kill his mom.
Yeah.
So even had she not been an alien, she still sent him to go kill somebody.
She did that. She said it says antifreeze, but it's not.
That scene was hilarious. That's like a sister scene to another scene. So that scene's hilarious because she's describing this obviously like BS story about the antifreeze. But then there's a mirror scene where they're in the office and she takes out the calculator and she's describing the calculator. She's like, well, it's a 65-digit code and I don't remember it. And it sounds like it goes back to the antifreeze scene. You're like, this is 100% BS, but that turns out to be true.
Right.
That's funny.
It had like the same vibe to it. She's acting like she's forgetting it and she's typing in. At one point I wanted to turn it upside down and see the word boobies or something. Like this is the hidden Andromeda.
Why did no one else come in there to help her?
They were all gathered around the back. Could you see all the people?
You see the people in the background, but like, why wouldn't someone at least try and?
I think they probably locked the door, and maybe he didn't make it very. When he was walking, he had a pistol or a shotgun down his leg, so maybe they also thought he was armed as well. So they didn't. I think they were waiting for the cops to come. Yeah.
And she was the CEO, so she commanded like you can't just bust in her office. A little bit of a victim of her own demise there.
That was funny. She's like, "Yeah, I'm back." The guy was like, "How are you doing? How are you been?" She's like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm back now."
Do you think she was actually taking him to go up there, or do you think she knew he would explode?
That's what I've been thinking about.
That was one of my questions.
Because everything's true. Like he really does have to go in the closet. She really does have to put the code in. I kind of feel like, okay, they explained it that the body heat set the bomb off, but maybe it was the heat from the teleportation that set the bomb off. I think
before his body teleported, it just blew him up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what might have happened.
But
he came apart.
She went away from the door like she was trying to hide, like she was trying to escape.
Yeah.
So that seems strange too. Why she was trying to act like she's going to get so far away from it, and then he blew up, and then all of a sudden, like they'd like, oh, now look, it's really a teleporter,
right?
So, because she had every intention of putting him in there to begin with, anyway.
Yeah.
Even before she knew he was covered in explosives.
Yeah.
Could be like putting something in a microwave. It's not supposed to go in a microwave. It's just going to pop.
What do you think they injected themselves with to self-imposed castration?
Yeah, how did that work?
Well, they mentioned
temporary, or
they mentioned the chemical, and I've been meaning to do research into it to see if that's a real. Because I've heard the term thrown around, chemical castration. So I wonder if it's real. But it's funny that it didn't work. Like I had a conversation with a friend one time who was a biologist, and we were much younger, I guess, full of vigor. And we both talked about how, like, man, our mind is so preoccupied by women, like imagine how much we could accomplish. So we had a similar conversation. We entertained the idea, not that we would ever do it, but we're like, what if we could get rid of this sexual desire? Like how much more can we get done? And I think there's a Seinfeld episode about it as well. So
yeah, when George didn't do it, and all of a sudden he's a genius.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it's funny that he thought about that, and it didn't seem to work because they're talking about his cousin's like, I don't feel good, ever since you gave me that injection.
I'm gonna look it up. Chemical castration.
Yeah, look it up, see if it's real.
I'm sure there's something out there that makes it real.
Well, the prisons do it to sex offenders. I just don't know what it does. Teddy performed chemical castration uses. It's a big
Sodium pentylate, maybe sodium
Pentyl.
pentylate.
It's a big one. I ain't spelling that one out. I'm gonna end up saying something offensive. Reducing testosterone levels to decrease sex drive.
Oh, see, that's what. Okay, so it probably just reduces your testosterone. Interesting.
I just don't. I don't know how saying some kind of acid you could make somebody not able to reproduce chemically. Just burn it off like Lord Varys or something. Like I don't know, but maybe just reducing your testosterone to like near zero.
Right.
But then you wouldn't want to do anything fun. You'd just be a slug.
Have low energy. A bunch of stuff would happen, basically.
Do you feel like the setup for the cop showing up was just a little too convenient?
It was a trope for sure.
Yeah.
It was one. It's been done a million times. Like you almost knew because you saw the cop in the commercial, the trailer, and like you knew when the cop was coming. Like, that's when that's coming. He's coming in there.
Yeah. Yeah, they did it to increase tension and for the climax, but they tried to set it up at least. It didn't come out of anywhere. There was that one scene where like the cop just pulls over, does a whole U-turn, and so it kind of sets it up. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it was pretty tropey.
Like, hey Teddy, I was the one that molested you. How's it going? What? Get out of here.
A lot of memories in this place. Which one?
Yeah. Was it where you were molesting me, Mr. Officer? Like, how'd you get on the force?
How much older was he supposed to be compared to Teddy?
I don't know.
That's a good point.
They didn't say how old Teddy was supposed to be either. The guy that plays his cousin was only 17 when they filmed it.
Oh, really? Oh, damn.
Yeah. The guy that plays Don.
They didn't really go into the backstory of how Michelle, Emma Stone's character, became like super duper CEO, which means she would have to have a backstory and would have to be born here.
That's what I wonder.
Getting put out of nowhere.
Or did
she
she
just be a CEO of a company?
Well, they could fake papers. Like she could have come in as an adult, and they could have faked her backstory, credentials, and papers.
Oh yeah, I mean they have control over everything. They are aliens. It's got to be paper. Got to be papers lying around. They are scientists. From half
funnier had they made it to where there were more aliens that were like the higher up people in the world. Getting down that whole rabbit hole of the super elites really are just aliens.
Wouldn't shock me a bit. But then she started doing the whole corporate thing. You can leave at 5:30 if you're not if you're done. Feel free to leave.
That part was so funny. Yeah, feel free to leave. But if you have work, you stay. You should stay. But you can leave. You should go ahead and leave. And then when they come back to the her office at the end, like it's kind of a way to explain why there's so many people at the office, But it's funny they bring back the 5:35 thing. He's like, it's 5:35, guys. You guys leave.
Why are you here? You can leave. I was having a hard time with and I've forgotten everything I've had a hard time with, but how there weren't more of a police presence in the area when this was going on. Like just one dude, that guy, that's it. You got a cell phone ping in the area and you just send him.
Did they even say where this was supposed to be at?
I don't know. I wonder if it's kind of like a Severance. How it's just
I don't remember them actually mentioning like what state or what town or any of that.
I don't think they ever do. Yeah. Once again, they try to explain this away a little bit because when they're at the thrift store, Don is like, "Hey, aren't we gonna get caught? What if we get caught?" And then Teddy says, "Like nobody gives a shit about us," something like that. Like, which is true. They're like basically the bottom of society, so nobody really gives them attention. Which in this case was advantageous to them, but a lot of times it's not good if you're ignored by society.
What they do with their car? They put it in the.
They cover it up with. I think he covers it up with some branches or something.
Yeah, they put it in the woods.
Yeah, he covered it up, but most vehicles have tracking sensors on.
I'm like that's a G-Wagon, like probably not the base model either. Yeah. Like they had to do something and pull it out and research that.
I think what their intentions were that they were going to get on the craft and they're going to be taken away, and they didn't worry about any of that
afterwards
because they weren't going to be here anymore.
Yeah, they'd come right back in like an hour or two. But I guess they would be like royalty by then, so it wouldn't matter.
I don't know where he came up with the idea that they're going to kill humanity. Like, where do you get all that information from?
A lot of it's like straight up the Goonies. Like, you don't get any backstory.
I think maybe because they talked about he had 2 real Andromedans, maybe he got answers from them by torturing them.
Well, I think he mentions he mentions how her company is causing the collapse of bees through their company, through the
CDP.
pesticides. Yeah, colony collapse syndrome. Yeah,
Mhm.
so they have a whole
CCP.
scene about that. So I think that's part of it. That's one part of it. But you're right; they don't go too into detail. I guess the drugs that his mom took is another part of it. But he's probably got other reasons why he thinks they're trying to control people. But those are the ones he mentioned specifically.
Yeah, and there was a lot of things that he didn't explain what he knew.
Mhm.
He was just kind of real rushed, like you were saying, the algorithm with the ship. Like, how did you get that out of that?
I just assumed he did a lot of research, like got really deep into podcasts. What's that guy's name? Jacobs. There's this one guy, Dr. Jacobs. He does a lot of hybrid research. He publishes books. Yeah, he believes that. That guy believes that. Yeah, that there's a lot of already hybrids among us.
Well, like the whole house was just a giant murder board, and so that was kind of like an exhibition without saying it, exposition without saying it.
Yeah.
Like there was murder board. Everywhere you looked, there was an article, and
Right.
the Mulder poster. I want to believe you saw that in one of the black backgrounds. So this dude was obsessed.
No, I got that one right here.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't know if I could put that up here. I'm not going to be in this. This is like the last episode I'll ever do in this room. But I didn't know if I could put it in here or not without getting copywritten. I didn't know if it was.
I don't think any of that really matters. It's a picture.
Also, I was going to say with the movie, I was going to say there's also a really compressed timeline because I think it happens like in 2 or 3 days. So that kind of excuses why they didn't really crack the case.
Yeah, and if you dive into movies that are classics that people love, most have that same thing, that you don't know anything about it. And you can really ruin someone's whole childhood by bringing it up that The Goonies is a really terrible movie, that there's you don't know anything about them. You don't know what a Goonie is. You don't know why the Truffle Shuffle's funny. You don't know why that kid's the ones that do it. Why is Corey Feldman in the house? He's a sex offender. Get him out. But like that's a lot of Smokey and the Bandits the same way. You don't know why the Bandits famous but that's just what makes the movie good. You get in there and the story just cranks up, and this one does the same thing. You see these two guys and they're just like, are they serious? And they're making these little cables and got all this stuff, and like, well, they must be serious. So let's go with them.
Do you guys think one of the messages of the film was that, humanity were basically causing a lot of our own problems?
I thought that was totally the whole basis of it.
Yeah.
Humanity is a disease that needs to be eradicated.
Right.
I thought that was totally the underlying tone. And I didn't know until that day that she was going to be an alien when my cousin told me it's at Sunday dinner. And I'm like, well, shit. I guess he ruined it for me. It really didn't take anything away from the movie knowing.
Yeah, like I knew beforehand as well. And
because her being an alien didn't really do much.
Well, I knew that in the original it was an alien, so I didn't know if she was going to be an alien in this one. But I was like, how can he, with the director knowing him, I was like, how could he not go with the weird route? And then the other thing I was going to mention about humanity, causing problems on the planet. I've said this before to Bobby, but like, I don't believe in the phrase "save the planet" because that's actually wrong. The phrase is "save the humans" because I mean everything we're doing, we're just leading to our own extinction. Yeah, we're leading to extinction of other animals as well. But the thing is, if we die, like in the movie, it happens in the movie, like if humanity dies, no matter how many species we wiped out, it'll bounce back. It might take 30 million years, but that's a blink of the eye in the planet. So all these things that we need to change, it's not really for the planet. Sure, it's for other species, but it's mainly for us. It's like, let's stop ourselves from becoming almost extinct because the planet's bounce back, for sure.
I'm glad they did answer the fact that the other animals lived, because you saw the dog licking the ice cream cone. It's like, dog is going to eat that dude's arm off.
Right.
Because he's going to feed him.
Then they go back to bees at the very end.
Oh, yeah. How convenient was it for this movie production company cast director that 3-Eye Atlas came by right in the heart of it? They got like a free UFO flap right in the middle of their whole. They should have played the alien thing up more.
By the way, drone season is right around the corner because apparently the New Jersey drones that it happened last year around this time, they said it wasn't the first year, so it kind of happens by clockwork. I actually thought about getting an Airbnb ahead of time in that area around the time because I think drone season's coming around.
I saw an article and it didn't say who it was, but it was a military contractor, and they've taken credit for the drone outbreak in New Jersey. They were testing out new drones.
Mm-hmm.
So some military contractor claims it was them and it wasn't aliens. Like,
I saw that too. I saw that too.
It says they were unnamed. I was like, well, that's awful convenient that we're going to say it was us, but we're not going to say who.
Well, when we weren't shooting them down with Hellfires day one, I knew that we knew what they were. I mean, that's just how it works. But yeah, I would like an answer. I like answers. Maybe it's not what you want it to be.
Could be multiple things as well.
Well, the drone thing started as maybe the legit drones, and then every Cessna that flew over was a drone after that.
Sure.
Just you lose interest once everybody in the world with a smartphone starts sending in super pixelated video of a drone. Like, that's clearly a Cessna, bro. It's making the noise sound like a go-kart.
There's this show, maybe you guys are familiar with it, called The Good Trouble Show. Have you guys heard about the show? Okay, well, there's a podcast called The Good Trouble Show, and he interviewed this guy who's a cop, and I forget he's in a small town in the middle of nowhere. I think it might be in Nebraska. And this cop goes into detail about like orbs of light following them, like lighting up the whole environment. He says they follow them in their cop car and they just stick to the side of the road, like the drones, the ball of light just follows the grid of the road, and it gets really into detail. And that was pretty crazy to me because, it's another place I wanted to visit because he names the town. It's like a small town in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. And the experiences he describes, they sound like more than just, a military contractor. Although it could be, who knows?
I had someone tell me last year that they saw one in this little town not far from me, and it was about the size of a Volkswagen. I don't know of anyone's drones that we have around here, that commercial drones that people are flying, like something we can buy that are that big. But who knows?
Where does a drone go from being a drone to being an airplane?
There must be a size. There must be some kind of
that.
number right there.
Like, eventually you just fly in a remote control airplane.
Brandon, have you ever had a paranormal experience before?
My whole life's been a paranormal experience.
Okay.
I don't have enough time to get into it, but yes, I've had some strange experiences. That's why I do the podcast, because there's things that happen that I can't explain and made me start questioning stuff, and here I am.
What categories of paranormal, like poltergeist, UFOs, abduction, psychic stuff, would you say you've experienced?
February 9th of 2007, I saw what everyone would consider a dog man in the middle of the road.
Okay.
And I'm not one to believe in all this type of stuff, but it's bothered me up until like we turned around. It wasn't just me. It was a coworker drove in front of me. He swerved to miss it. I had to swerve to miss it. We couldn't tell what it was. We turned around. We went back, and it looks like a dead dog on the road. And I'm an idiot, and I got out of my car to walk up to it because it looked like a dead black wolf-looking dog, and it stood up on its hind legs. And we were face to face. I'm 6'3", and we're about eye to eye. And it walked off on its hind legs, but it was like down in a weird crunched down, hungered down position. I don't know of any type of black canine that can walk like a human or stand up like a person. So that was my first real introduction into the world of weird.
I remember you telling me that story because that's my wife's birthday. I remember that now.
And then the house we live in, we've had some weird activities here and there. I don't talk about it too much because I don't want to feed it, if that makes any sort of sense.
Of course, yeah, give it energy. Yeah,
I hear that a lot. Don't want to make it happen again.
Yeah, we've had random teeth show up that look like children's teeth that the dog had found, and my wife threw it away in the same exact tooth. I have photos from different time periods, and there's a crack in the tooth. Well, the second tooth that showed up has the same crack in it, and my wife turned pale as a ghost because she swore that she threw that tooth away, and it showed back up 2 months later with the same crack. And it looks like a little child's tooth. So I took that tooth down the road and chucked it out to some a-hole's field because I didn't want it at my property. So if it ever came back, I was like, I'm just going to set the house on fire and be done with it.
You heard Tim Schwartz's only thing he ever done paranormal wise is he kept finding rocks in the house.
Mm-hmm.
He took them all and wrote X's on them and threw them in the back of a cornfield, and they all showed back up.
Mm.
I don't know what I would do if that happened. Like, son, they're in here.
And then my daughter used to have an imaginary friend, and she told us it was a ghost. And she was like 3 years old at the time. She shouldn't even know what a ghost is, but there's just. And then my son talks about ghosts in the house. He's now 4. It's just so we don't talk about it because try not to give anything energy.
I just don't look. Don't look.
I've talked to someone recently, and they claim by doing that we're still giving it energy because it's feeding off the fear of us not talking about it. So I was like, well, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
I feel like you would do less damage by not talking about it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight up acknowledging it all the time. It's going to be way worse.
We call it Al. So that is the name of the ghost. We just call him Al. So if my stepson's being a turd, I'll say that Al's sleeping under his bed.
Get Al in here.
No. So part of the reason I do the podcast out here is because I thought maybe the things that we talked about on the show were causing more activity in my house. So I completely moved the podcast out of my house into studio thing. And last year, you notice I have things on my walls. I have cameras in here too, like security cameras. So they're always running because I have too much expensive stuff out here. And it goes right to my phone, and it caught something of a shadow moving across my desk. I was like, okay, well, that could have been the curtain. But then if you look over on the wall, there's something that starts moving, like a shirt that I had hung up on the wall starts moving. So it all happened on the same time. I was like, well, I have a window unit behind me, so maybe the air conditioner kicked on. But why would it only do that one time? And it's been on all summer long. It's never done it since then. It's been over a year ago, but it's only done it once. So I can't explain that one. I was like, I'm going to just say it was the air conditioner, but I really don't know because it never happened before and it never happened again.
Yeah, in a room like that, you have to have good AC too, so you know it's running all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, everything starts sweating, falling off the walls.
Yeah, I part of the reason I don't want to be out here in the winter is because it cost a lot to heat this thing last year. So I'm trying to record everything while it's still somewhat warm and bank some episodes for the winter so I don't have to be out here so much.
That's the difference between Indiana and Alabama. I would definitely be out there in the winter.
Yeah, well,
it's like, it's not 1,000 degrees in here. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, one night I came out here and it was 20 something degrees. So
the stuff will stop working at that point.
Yeah. So I had a baseboard heater that doesn't do anything, and then I end up having one of those other heaters constantly running to keep it like in the 40s, and my electric bill was almost $800 a month.
Jesus, what?
Yeah, so
that's obnoxious.
We're a total electric. We don't have gas, so heating the house and then out here just raised that bill quite a bit. So I was like, this winter we're not doing that. I will move. I will bring in my Roadcaster and some of the other stuff that I don't want to get frozen, and then the rest of the stuff can stay out here. And if I have to come record an episode, I'll crank the heat on, come out here, record, and take all my stuff back inside.
Cool. Well, we have made it a solid hour, fellas.
Awesome.
What grade do you give the movie? I give it a straight up 90. Just because there were plot holes that don't really matter, but they were there.
I thought it was a good movie. Even if it didn't include myself in it, I would still say I found it very entertaining because it touched a lot of bases that I find interesting in the movies in general, plus the whole conspiracy thing about it. It aligns with my own sort of self, so I would have found it interesting either way. But the fact that I'm actually in it and my name's in it and the credits in it, I got to give it an A.
Oh yeah. It's definitely in the 90s as far as Rotten Tomatoes go, as far as I'm concerned. Somebody needs some kind of hardware for that movie. I don't care who, but it has to win something.
I'm sure she'll get something because of her shaved head.
She could be in Stranger Things.
I also give it a 90%, maybe higher. Definitely a must-watch because the score is great. It's directed well. It's directed on film, colorful. It's acted really well. It's got a lot of. It's compelling and never lets up. You're always interested, and it gives you a lot to talk about afterwards and to think about. So that's why I like it.
I've been talking about it for 3 solid days. It's like, what in the hell just happened? Like, I didn't expect the blood
About it
and
for
the
over
head.
a year, and I couldn't talk about it.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I had forgotten about it until you told me about it in Kentucky. I was like, oh yeah, that movie's coming out soon.
I didn't tell you anything. What are you talking about?
You mentioned it was coming out. You never said you were in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
said
you dreamed that, Bobby. That's a dream.
It
A
was.
Bugonia style dream.
the goblins got in my head. It was Tom Reed and his giant orb. Well, all right. We're going to hit the credits and end this stream. Thanks, everybody, for watching this special edition, and probably the last time you'll see this room on a camera that's not a baby monitor. So, yeah. Thanks for coming, Brandon. Wild Trees, thanks for the idea, because I wasn't going to do it, but hell yeah. Worked out perfectly.
Brandon. Thanks for coming, Brandon. Thanks for setting it up, Bobby. It's nice to meet you, Brandon.
You too. Thanks, guys.
All right.